Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So, the 25-year anniversary of Family Matters ending is around the corner. Don't know, who cares? I used to watch the shit out of this show. I couldn't tell you almost anything about it. But I thought, all right, they had to have had a Christmas episode. Let me just pick one at random. And I picked this one. And I'm pretty all right with this.
Yeah, it's okay. I fucking love 90s sitcom Christmas specials, so I'm for it.
Let me ask you a question. We won't get to the answer of this yet.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
No.
I did twice.
Did you?
I did twice.
No. Oh, man, and we'll get to why in a few minutes.
But
But
what do you know about Family Matters?
So I loved Family Matters as a kid, but it's one of those shows that you love as a kid, but you can't remember anything about.
Yeah.
It. Like I knew I loved that. Like, and it's the same as like Roseanne. Like I can tell you the big ones, like the Halloween episodes.
Yeah.
I know off the back of my yeah, for sure. But just like that, I was watching Family Matters, fucking Roseanne, Married with Children, always watching like 90s sitcoms with my parents, and I loved I love 90s Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
Fucking killer. So the aesthetic of this episode,
top notch.
So good.
So
the outfits, chef's kiss.
Did you know, and this episode's kind of the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Did you know that Steve Urkel was not in the first season of Family Matters?
I'm going to watch that one because that one's probably better.
So the show, I'm not sure if you ever saw the Key and Peele sketch that they did about Family Matters.
Oh, yeah.
That's based on a very real situation that they played in a dark way. Family Matters was written to be in the same vein as like a Cosby show of like, it's a comedy, but it's also a very sincere drama about an African-American family living in the suburbs and like the trials and tribulations of all that.
Well, isn't it like the first 2 seasons are very grounded in reality, and then it becomes like a fucking sci-fi
so that's
crazy
what I'm saying.
shit?
I think it was somewhere in late season 1 or early season 2. I think it was late season 1. They introduced the character of Steve Urkel as a one-off joke of like one of the dorks at Laura's school that had a crush on her.
Yeah.
And then Urkel-mania happened after that.
Fucking insane.
And then,
I don't get it.
And then this second season, they're like, all right, we're putting Steve is getting put into the opening credits. And I think by season 3, Steve is the star of the show. It is Urkel and the Winslows beyond that point.
That's why this is a show I could never go back and watch.
I don't think so either. So I thought that this would be fun to do for this, that I actually just copy and pasted the plot summary from Wikipedia.
Yeah, go for it.
And I'm just going to read it, and then we'll go from there.
Do you want me to keep my thoughts to myself till you're done?
I think this will just be an easy way for us to get the audience up to date on everything that happens in this episode, and then we can just kind of cut wild from there.
Go for it.
Steve is all alone for Christmas, his family having left him behind, and the Winslows are shunning him after he breaks Laura's old-fashioned Christmas ornament. The nerd also has promised Richie that Santa will deliver him the season's hottest toy, Freddy Teddy, a storytelling teddy bear that Carl seems to be having trouble securing. Eventually, Laura apologizes to Steve after she finds him sad and alone in his basement on Christmas Eve. She also invites him to spend Christmas with her and her family, and Steve accepts. Soon the Winslows learn that there's nothing wrong with Steve still believing in Santa, especially when they discover his letter, in which he asks Santa to spend Christmas with the Winslow, and Richie is happy with his new present. So there's a lot of like, it's weird because it's like they partially don't want to spoil things, but then they're also just like, but here's some other twists and turns.
Yeah.
The very opening bumper, there is no joke in that episode.
No.
It's literally just he walks in and the joke is, oh, fuck, Steve Urkel's here.
To which I wrote down, Urkel sucks. I don't feel bad that his parents left him behind. He's real rapey. Real fucking creepy.
I mean, he's walking in with a piece of mistletoe dangling over his head. That's normally not a good sign.
Nope. Steve Urkel, top list of least favorite characters from 90s sitcoms.
Really? Okay.
I think it's up there, dude. I can't stand this fucking character.
So we'll get into it. I definitely was.
I don't get it.
So I was an Urkel fan as a kid. I didn't know how to feel
me.
about. I think it was just because he was a catchphrase machine. He had like 15 of them.
Yeah.
They do like a weird meta joke in this episode about the talking Steve Urkel doll. But
Steve Urkel is basically TikTok.
yes. So before we dive into the fuck Steve train,
Yeah.
I have to shout this out.
Yeah.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Pepper Ann. I, for my money, would say that I think Family Matters is the best theme song of all time. I fucking love this theme song. It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news in the newspaper page of love and tradition of the grand design. Some people say it's even harder to find. And then the part everyone knows, well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is the power of dreams, real love bursting out of every seam. The days go by. It's the bitter love of the family.
So you're gonna notice that I stayed quiet because I don't know a single
I
word from
fucking-
the Family Matters
Dude,
theme song.
I fucking love the family. I think it's beautifully written.
I'm gonna say the Family Matters one and the Full House one blend together in my
I will
mind.
sometimes get them confused,
Yep.
but I think Family Matters ultimately is the better song. I think
I
Full
can
House
agree
is
with
the
that.
one more people know.
Yeah, for sure.
Dum, ba-doo, ba-dum, bum. Ah.
I would say Family Matters holds up way better than Full House.
Yes, no,
much more enjoyable.
If some psychopath broke into my house and was like, "I'm going to shoot you and everybody you love, unless you watch all of Full House or Family Matters, your choice," I'd be like, "Family Matters, please."
Yeah, 100%.
Like I'll go through that.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why am I facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
So this is when did Urkel
Urkel
go
took
into that-
over the show in season 3.
Okay, so this is season 3, right?
This is season 2.
This is season 2. Okay, so this is
You'll notice he's the last person in the opening credits in this one.
Okay.
I think by season 3, the first name you see when the credits start.
So this is
him.
way before Urkel built a fucking time machine.
Yeah, none of
shit
that have
like
happened.
that.
At this point, he's
So
just
weird.
a nerd.
That is so fucking wild that's where this show goes.
So, Dylan, I discovered something while researching this.
Yeah.
I thought I watched the final episode of Family Matters. I was positive I did.
Yeah.
There was a whole nother season.
Oh,
they just
no.
changed networks. But for most of my life, I was like, yeah, the last episode, Steve time travels to a pirate ship.
Yeah.
That was just the last episode on ABC. They got
Okay.
one more season that ends not that much better with Steve getting trapped in outer space and coming home and Laura marrying him.
Oh, lame.
Yeah. She had a choice. It was she could pick Steve or she could pick Stefan.
What about neither?
So Steve cloned himself
Yeah.
and then gave his clone the nutty professor Stefan
Yeah, he's like
Urkel.
the cool
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
And then she could choose, and she was like, "No, I have the best of memories with Steve." Which, no, you don't.
No, you don't. You hated this guy.
You couldn't
you
say
always
this.
hated him because he sucks.
It's Stockholm
He's a
syndrome.
fucking asshole.
She has Stockholm syndrome
He's a
for a guy
fucking
who would.
prick.
Now there is one part early on in this episode that I got a legitimate laugh at, and look, we can shit talk Steve Urkel all day. The actor who's playing Steve,
Oh, I love Jaleel.
Jaleel
White rules.
Jaleel White is phenomenal in this role.
Yeah.
You can't deny that he
No.
is doing what is being
It's
delivered.
100%. I just don't like Urkel.
It's a visual gag, but they say something about oh, I thought you were going to be with so and so, or wasn't your uncle in jail? And he goes, we beat that rap. And he gives this whole explanation of we found photos of the judge with one of the jurors and tickling a juror with a rubber ducky or whatever. But then he looks at Laura.
Well, yeah.
He gives this like this big smile, wink,
Yeah.
nudge. And I don't know what it is. That made me laugh so hard because it's such an over-the-top animated face that he makes.
Oh my god.
And that's pretty much where like my Urkel's funny stuff ends.
Yeah.
But there are some good lines in this episode that I must give credit to.
Yeah.
One goes to Carl Winslow's horny ass mom. When
Dude,
he's
that
trying,
is so funny. He can find anything.
he can find me here tonight at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was like that
Because Carl is looking for the fucking teddy
the
bear.
Freddy Teddy. That line absolutely killed me. Carl's wife's rant about how they bump up the prices at Christmas time and how she should call her. I was like, preach,
Yep.
preach,
Yep.
love it. And
That
then,
Toy Store scene does not play well in
No.
2023.
no, because that's Toy Story. Yeah, that ain't great. We won't even touch that.
We have to.
We'll get there.
It's a very large portion of
We'll
this
get there.
episode.
So I wanted to. Let's get there now.
Okay.
Then.
Okay,
Let's do
let's
that
go
now.
there.
So
Okay.
yeah, Carl gets a tip on where there's some
Yep.
toys. He shows up. He's talking to the old lady from the
This
wedding
toy
singer.
store is some fucking It's a Wonderful Life medicine shop type
Yeah.
deal. Like,
Oh.
it is a one-room toy store. There is no way this little mom and pop shop is getting any
Yeah,
Teddy Ruxpin, whatever.
whatever.
Freddy Teddy.
So Carl gets to the front of the line.
Let alone the two that they got.
He gets his Freddy Teddy,
Yep.
and then it's announced that it's the last one in the store.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, all the people that were in the store talking about the magic of Christmas and how beautiful it is and how it's all about being kind to your fellow man, they turn hard on Carl Winslow.
A very old white lady
Accuses Carl of
accuses a middle-aged black man of cheating his way to the front of the line
Yep.
and getting the Freddy Teddy. And I will just say that it's unfortunate that, like, the first thing that came to mind was that stuff like a month ago or 2 months back where that nurse had been complaining that the guy took her scooter.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that video?
I did not. I have had to stop watching those videos.
Yeah, it's
they affect me too much, and I'm
yeah.
like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
anymore.
and it's so wild that, like, I watched this scene and I'm like, this is something I could see on fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, I could 100% see
1
this.
billion%.
And if you showed this to me, like, back then, I'd be like, that would never happen. Like,
Never.
these people are assholes. That would never happen. This
Yeah.
is just on a, like, TV. And it's fucking insane that we get videos of that almost
Regular.
on a minute to minute basis. It's insane. But they do turn hard on Carl, and he doesn't get to leave with the
He does not get the Freddy Teddy.
no.
So I want to jump. We'll continue that Freddy Teddy's storyline because on top of that, Urkel, we find out still believes in Santa Claus.
Yep.
And he's talking to the youngest kid of the Winslows, and he says, "I want a Freddy Teddy," and he says something along the lines of, "Oh, it's a pretty big gift." He goes, "Have you been good this year?" And the kid says, "I had a pretty good August."
Pretty good August.
He goes,
I loved
"Ooh,
it.
that's a key month."
Yeah.
Yes.
So I will say Urkel has heart. Like, he cares.
He cares. Actually, I forgot the other line. He has a line that I absolutely laughed out loud at.
Yeah.
Which is when they find out that he still believes in Santa. And one of them says, "No one's ever told you Santa's real." And he goes, "I've heard rumors, but I stay away from vicious
Yeah.
gossip."
Fucking Urkel, man.
Now that they're beyond the fact that he broke the ornament, they're also upset that he's essentially promised
Yeah.
that
Yeah. No, that's why he's an asshole. I forgot about that. He broke that ornament. He's a dick.
I mean, it wasn't
Urkel
like
sucks.
It wasn't like he picked it up and was like, "Fuck your house," like
Why is he there?
because he's lonely.
That don't care. Like, seriously, you are encroaching on my Christmas
Yeah.
enjoyment.
See, this is where I cried twice. Once was him just sadly singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" to himself, and then
Yeah.
when they read the letter out loud, I was like, "Oh God, it's hitting me! It's hitting me! Christmas magic, Santa's great."
So that letter wasn't from Santa. It was from Urkel.
It was from Urkel, but it was proof that Santa was real.
No, he wrote that letter.
Yeah, but he also no one can explain where the Freddy Teddy came from.
Urkel bought it.
When?
I don't know. No.
Why are we on the Christmas podcast where you're denying that Santa did something magical?
No. Okay, so the Freddy Teddy, I can get behind Santa buying that.
Yeah.
Freddy Teddy is not punishing Laura. I mean, Santa's not punishing. Wow, Freddy Teddy. Sorry, Santa's not punishing Laura
Fair.
letting Urkel stay there. So I think Santa brought the gift. Urkel is the type of psychopath to think that he's Santa and wrote that fucking letter. That's Urkel. All of that being said,
Well, he does say in the letter, he goes, "You wanted me to prove that Santa was real, so my wish this year is the one thing that could never happen.
yeah.
I want to spend Christmas morning with the Winslows."
I mean, but that had nothing to do with Santa.
No, he's just
that
saying
was just Urkel
It's-
being real fucking persistent.
Yeah. It's called The Secret, Dylan. You ever read it? He manifested it. He manifested his truth. We have to talk
Yeah, but
about...
you can't manifest your truth. Like, seriously, there's a big difference between manifesting your truth and forcing your way into someone's
forcing your way.
home.
So, okay, so there's a few other things I want to talk about. First of all,
Yeah.
I made a mention to it. They have a pretty funny meta joke of what later, like, there were talking Steve Urkel dolls.
Yeah,
And
so
he makes
I put
Laura
that
talking
on.
Steve Urkel doll, and it was literally, as she pulled the strings, it was all of the things that the actual talking Steve Urkel doll said.
Yeah, I wrote Urkel is gross. How did this get big? They made these dolls, right? Like I have
Their dolls looked more like actual
vague
Steve.
memories.
Yeah, their dolls looked way better.
This doll looked
horrifying.
This doll looked like the haunted slave dolls from Tales from the Hood.
It was
Like
yeah,
it was very horrifying.
it was terrifying. Can we talk about the wildest line of dialogue in this entire episode?
Go for it.
Thank you for my trumpet.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? And then Mama
Did she-
Winslow
when did
just
she ask
plays
for a trumpet?
I don't know. And then she just plays the trumpet, and the crowd loses their minds.
It's wild. I will say, talking about this ending, I love the end of sitcom. Santa's real?
Yeah.
Like, stop, pause. My favorite being, of course, like the I Love Lucy one,
Yeah.
where he's playing with the bike and they're like, where did that come from? And they're all looking at him and they're pulling the beards down and they get to the real Santa and he's like, ouch.
Yeah.
I love that reveal, and that's what this reminded me of. So Santa letting Urkel stay with them aside, I do like the where did this Freddy Teddy come from? Santa must have delivered it.
I have one last thing I want to do before we wrap up this episode.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to read you a paragraph from a Wikipedia page,
Okay.
but I'm not going to include the year.
Oh shit.
And I
Okay.
want you to try to tell me when did this happen.
Okay. All right. Is this going to be like a during the show's run or?
Can't answer that.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Westside Middle School in Memphis, Tennessee outlined a dress code policy on saggy pants, asking students to pull them up or risk getting Urkeled, a reference to the character. In this practice, teachers would forcibly pull up the pants and attach them to their waists using zip ties. Students would also have to have their photo taken and posted on the board in the hallway for all their classmates to see. In an interview with this news station, the principal stated that the general idea was to fight pop culture with pop culture. One teacher of the school even claimed that she had Urkeled up to 80 students a week, although after a few weeks it had dropped down to 18. When did this happen?
I'm gonna go 2003.
2010.
Holy shit!
13 years
Who's
ago.
talking about Urkel in 2010?
2000. I was more like, how is this written like a jolly thing? I'd be like, I am horrified that my teacher is pulling up my child's
Is
pants and zip
touching
tying it
you
to
in the
their
first
body.
place.
Like,
is like touching you around the waist.
yeah,
That's fucking wild.
That was-
2010?
yeah. That was on the Cultural Impact Wikipedia page for Steve Urkel.
I thought you were gonna say for this episode. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why this one specifically?
No, I went on to Steve Urkel's page because I wanted to find out like when did the shift come from like him being a one-time character into the main cast and where this landed on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Cultural Impact. I bet that's got a lot of stuff. Nope, just that paragraph. That was the big, according to Wikipedia, that's the only cultural impact Steve Urkel has ever had was a school zip tying pants up.
This is a small impact, but what an impact it was, man. Jesus.
Well,
I could have survived not having that information. I hope that is now banned at
oh, you're not going to try
What
to
is the
introduce
school?
it at your
Can
school?
you please pull that up? When did this get banned? There's
Didn't
got to
s-
be a portion
didn't
where
say
they don't
anything
do
in
it
it.
anymore.
They might still be doing it.
Still, like 5 kids a week are getting Urkeled. We got to do something.
I mean, I feel like saggy pants is not like a thing. I feel like saggy pants wasn't a thing in 2010, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, it's weird. I don't know, man. I can't get behind it. But I like Family Matters. I can't stand Urkel, which is a weird conundrum that I find myself in. But good pick overall, man.
besides family, Dylan, you matter.
Oh, you matter to me too, buddy.
Now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.